Hello, everybody. Yeah, today's Wednesday, March 27th. and yeah, this is my live cooking demonstration. My name is Karen Poland, and my website is everydayplantbased.com. And on Wednesdays, I do, like I said, a cooking demonstration. Other things that I do are some cooking classes in my home with small groups, and I do presentations often with Food for Life, which is a curriculum developed by the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. So I'm a Food for Life instructor. Yeah, and today I want to do something with tempeh. I have not a problem. I just never really quite know what to do with tempeh, other than maybe make some tempeh bacon, slice it really thin and marinate it, and makes like bacon. Sometimes put it in a stir fry, though I prefer tofu, excuse me, for stir fry. So I thought I'd try this tempeh scramble, which is going to cook it up with some vegetables. And then I'm going to make a delicious Hollandaise sauce to put on top. So let us get started. I'm going to show you the tempeh that I'm going to use. Let me just turn on my other camera here. Ooh, that banner is hiding my head, isn't it? Let's see. Let's try that. There, that's better. So the tempeh I'm going to use is this Light Life. This is what my grocery store carries. And it's vacuum sealed. And I don't know if you can see, tempeh is made from soybeans, which are partly cooked. And then a mold is added to them that then ferments. So when you look at tempeh, you'll see black streaks here and there, and that's fine. That's how it's supposed to look. That's the mold. So don't worry if you look at it and say, oh, this looks moldy. It's supposed to look moldy. You just don't want to use it if it is other colors. We don't want anything blue or red or pink on tempeh. So what I'm going to do, let me get back out of this. I'm going to open the package, and there's a kind of a trick to getting tempeh out of the package that I hope will work because I'm demonstrating it right now. Just cut it right down the middle like that. And then these pieces should come right out. These halves should come right out. And they do. Isn't that something? Kind of magic? Well, not really magic. But it's a good trick, and you don't have to worry too much about figuring out how to get the package open. Okay, what we're going to do, so the recipe is on my website, everydayplantbased.com. We're going to crumble this tempeh. So let me just start doing that. I'm just going to take my fingers, and actually you can see, I'll turn on the other camera, you can see the soybeans you can see the soybeans are intact in here, which is kind of nice. I like that. It gives it a lot of texture. Okay, get this all crumbled up. We're just going to cook this with some spices for a few minutes. This tempeh that's in this sort of packaging by Light Life is already cooked. I checked with the manufacturer because sometimes they say tempeh is raw and tempeh needs to be cooked. So I just wanted to make sure what kind this was. They said this has been pasteurized and so it is cooked. The reason they say it's cooked is you want to cook it enough to stop the mold from fermenting. But if it's been pasteurized, then that's happened already. So, okay. all nice and crumbled up. Ooh, I'm gonna rinse my hands. Okay, so let me turn on my frying pan, and I am going to measure out some things we're going to add to this. We're going to add, where is it? Nutritional yeast, 2 tablespoons. Nutritional yeast is not an active yeast. It's a, it's not an active yeast like you would use with bread, to make bread. All right, nutritional yeast, and we're going to add some black salt, which is kalinamak. I'm sorry, I pronounced that wrong. I use this. I've used this before. If you've seen any of my demonstrations, it's pinkish, actually, kind of a pinkish salt that adds sulfuric flavor, which is what eggs taste like. So this adds an eggy flavor to things. So this recipe calls for half a teaspoon. A little bit goes a long way, this stuff. Just checking to make sure my frying pan was plugged in. Okay, and the last thing we're going to add is some turmeric. And turmeric, again, a little goes a long way with this. I find it's kind of bitter. This recipe calls for a teaspoon because it makes everything yellow. In fact, if you get some on your hands, it will turn your fingers yellow. I'm actually just going to add half a teaspoon because I find it's kind of bitter, and I think a half a teaspoon will do what we need it to do. Okay, so those 4 ingredients now need to cook. And I don't know why my frying pan isn't getting real hot here. Getting a spatula. I'm going to add a little broth to this just to help it along, help it cook evenly. The recipe says 1/3 cup. It's you don't have to be real precise. And actually, I would say with nearly all plant-based food, one does not need to be very precise. I'm sorry, I was just checking the comments. So if anybody is watching, if you're watching live, say hi. You can say hi in the comments. If you're watching on Facebook, and it looks just like a post that you can comment on. So I'm just going to check and see if I think this is yellow enough to look like a scramble. If not, I might add a little more turmeric. The Hollandaise sauce that we're going to make also has turmeric in it. So that's another reason I cut back a little bit on this in this particular dish. Okay, it's starting to cook. I'm going to put the lid on it to help it along. So after that's cooked for a few minutes, we're going to add some vegetables. And the vegetables are, let's see, I'm going to cut up a zucchini. That's the only one I haven't already prepped. I've got bell pepper, yellow bell pepper. I've got red onion. I decided at the last minute I wanted to add potatoes because I love potatoes. So I just thought potatoes would be really good in this. So I cut up and diced 3 kind of smallish potatoes. And then we're also going to add some kale. So all that is going to cook in the saute pan. The only thing I haven't cut up yet is this zucchini. So I think I'm going to just cut it lengthwise into 4 pieces. Try to get all the vegetables diced about the same size. And these are going to go in after that tempeh is cooked for a few minutes. There are other ways to cook tempeh. Some recipes call for it to be fried. It is like tofu in that it can marinate, it can absorb flavors well. Okay. Okay, it's starting to stick, so I'm going to add the rest of my veggie broth here. And I'm going to turn it down. But this is very flavorful smelling. It's got a little bit of a nutty smell to it, and that's tempeh has a nutty taste and a nutty texture. Okay. I think I can add the rest of the vegetables now. So we have some zucchini. That was 1 zucchini cut into pieces. We have bell pepper. This was 1 whole yellow bell pepper. I think the recipe says red. I didn't have a red one. This is a chopped red onion. It is actually half of a red onion, but the onion was really big, so I only put in half. Okay, and then we have the potatoes. Let me throw the kale in next. So, I don't know where here they are. Sorry. This kale, I stripped it off the stem, but I kind of want to cut it up a little bit. Get some slightly smaller pieces. Actually, add a little bit more liquid to what's going on here. It'll be very colorful. I don't know if this is a conventional way to chop up your kale, but just use with some scissors. This kale is voluminous, but it will cook down. Okay, and then I have my potatoes. I cut these up earlier, so I put them in some water so they wouldn't, discolor. So I just need to drain them off a little bit. So what I'm going to do is let this cook down a little bit before I try to stir it. I'm afraid if I try to stir it, it's going to make a big it's got so much volume in there. So while that's cooking, let us make this, what I call it a Hollandaise. It looks like Hollandaise. It's a beautiful yellow color. It's got some of the same flavors with a little bit of mustard and garlic and onion and lemon juice and all of that. So the only thing, I have all my ingredients out except the cashews. So hold on one second. Stay where you are. Yeah, I did forget to get the cashews out. So I use a NutriBullet, which is very much like a high-speed blender. I don't really need to soak the cashews when I use the NutriBullet, which is good because I forgot to do that, didn't I? So I need I need a cup of cashews. This is a third, so 3 of those. We're just going to put everything into this blender. Let me try not to forget something. I need a cup of water. Okay. Then the other ingredients we're going to add, of course, we're going to add nutritional yeast. A 1/4 cup. I don't have my 1/4 cup measure out. The nutritional yeast gives it a cheesy flavor. It's going to work really well with this tempeh scramble. A teaspoon of white vinegar. Now, I think of white vinegar largely when I think of cleaning solutions, but it's just, you know, a nice neutral acid. And we want a teaspoon. Here's my teaspoon. A teaspoon of that. I hold it over here so I don't spill it. That's not very much. We want 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, which I have out because I've already used it, right? There it is, hiding. And we want 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm just gonna, I think that's probably about the juice of 1/2 a lemon. This is a big juicy lemon, so I'm sure this will give us enough lemon juice. This is a big juicy lemon. I am going to stop right here and check on the tempeh. See if I can stir it up some. It has reduced down somewhat. We just want to make sure these potatoes get cooked. So I'm going to move them down closer to the heat source. We have a little stickage on the bottom here. I think I'll add a little more broth too. I love seeing all the green here, and the kale stays nice and green. You know, all of the instructions, if you're trying to eat whole foods, plant-based, everybody says you need to eat some greens every day. Dr. Greger has it on his daily dozen as 2 servings of greens. So this is a good way to get greens in. I'm going to add a little more broth. And put the top back on it. Okay. Let's see, where was I? I need to add a tablespoon of mustard. I am not going to bother to measure this. It's just going to mess up a measuring spoon. But it's a tablespoon. That's a little bit, maybe a little bit more. And then we want some garlic powder and onion powder, a teaspoon of each. Here's my teaspoon measure. I think I'm almost out of garlic powder. And a teaspoon of onion powder. So what I'm actually putting in here is minced white onion. So this is a dried onion. But it's all going to be blended up, so it's all, we will not even notice it. Then we're going to add some more black salt. This time 1/2 teaspoon. And we're going to add tiny bit of cayenne, 1/8 of a teaspoon. So this is a half. So 1/8 would be just about 1/4 of this. Just enough to get a little bit of heat into that sauce. Oops. All right, so that's all the ingredients for the plant-based hollandaise. So next I need to blend this up. Before I do that, I just want to check on my tempeh here. Yeah, these potatoes are going to take a little bit, you know, the peppers and the zucchini cook pretty quickly. The potatoes are going to take a little bit longer. The kale is cooked. Add a little more broth. There we go. Okay, to blend the hollandaise, I need the base of my blender. So pardon me 1 minute, I have to plug it in over here. There we go. I had to unplug my phone, so I only have one outlet on that side. Okay, so let's go. Looks like I bumped the phone, didn't I? Oh. It keeps tilting. Oh, I know why. It's because the cord's now pulling on it. Where's my producer? Okay, we're going to blend this hollandaise sauce. It's going to take a minute and it's going to be noisy. Just give it a minute here. Hold it right side up so it can drain a little bit. So I probably won't use all of this sauce today on the tempeh. It will freeze pretty well. I'm going to get a little spoon so I can taste it. I can very faintly taste the mustard and the lemon. It has a lovely creamy consistency. I think it's what I aimed for with that recipe. Just making space here. Let's see if these potatoes are done. Now I call this a scramble. It's actually sort of a, I don't know, maybe like a hash. I don't know what's a better word for it. The potatoes are done, so we can turn it off and get a dish so we can taste it. Okay. So you can see, oh, I love all the green of the kale. That's really beautiful. And you can see the soybeans and a little bit of onion and zucchini in there. The bell pepper is not is easy to see because it's yellow, just like the tempeh. All right, I'm going to go back to a single person, single view. And I want to add a little bit of this Hollandaise. You think of a good way to serve it. I have my measuring cup, which just had broth in it, so we use that. I'm just going to drizzle that on top. It's really pretty. See, it's pretty with the Hollandaise drizzle on top. And now we'll see what it tastes like. Sorry you can't be here to share this with me. Pretty hot. I love the texture of this. What's nice about the texture is the kale adds a little bit of chewy. The potatoes add some creaminess. The tempeh adds a slightly nutty kind of texture to it. You know, then the zucchini adds vegetable. This is definitely something that I could see making again. It would be really good for like a brunch. It's super healthy for you. I mean, tempeh has a lot of protein and fiber. There are not many foods that have both of those. Let me look at my packaging. So this is a 3-serving size, and each serving, it's really hard to read this. It's tiny little print. Each serving has 16 grams of protein. That is high. And it's got a lot of other stuff too. It has no cholesterol, of course. Yeah, it's good. All right, I'm just going to finish this up because it's past my lunchtime. Thank you all for watching. I know most people would be watching this on some sort of replay, so thank you. I will come back next Tuesday. Normally I'm at 2 o'clock. Today I had another conflict, so came a little early. But I plan to be here next Wednesday at 2 o'clock and see what we'll be cooking then. Take care. Bye.